Good afternoon, students. Welcome to the session Board of Studies for Your Success for the forthcoming May 2023 examination. And this session is for paper 4B, Indirect Taxes at Intermediate Level. Myself, C.A. Swati Agarwal, Faculty, Indirect Taxes. Today I will be taking this session and apprising you the few steps, the key points, for which you are worried generally while planning your studies and revising the syllabus. And I will discuss with you the key points which you need to bear in mind for this paper 4B, Indirect Taxes especially, and so that you can achieve good marks, you can come out with the flying colors in the forthcoming examination. So let's start. So you must be wondering, so what is the object of basically scheduling this class? We will be discussing study plan, how to make a study plan. Um, though basically now is for March end, so we hope that you must have made your study plan, but still you can go through it. Those who have not yet made the study plan, or you want to make some changes, you can go through the study plan, which I will be discussing with you, and then start your studies. Basically, revise the syllabus, how to focus on presentation. Generally, we receive lot of queries over emails and over telephone that ma'am, how to present the answer. We answer the question completely, but sometimes, we ended up in not scoring good marks. So presentation is equally important in scoring marks. As much as the content is important, so as the presentation is important. Then another point which we'll be discussing with you is exam strategy, then solving of computational problems. This is very important in indirect access because as we know that this subject is very dynamic, and generally one compulsory question is on the is computational based only. So we will discuss the key points which you need to bear in mind while solving computational questions. Then how you can improve your preparedness, and then finally we hope that this session will be a great motivation to you, and for revising, for time management and scoring good marks, from becoming better to best. So let's go through a quick recap of what are the BoS publications which are relevant for May 2023 examination. Though I know this is very basic and you must be aware of it, but still you might not, miss something. So I am touching up all these areas. The study material, what we have, what are the BOS publications, we have the study material. One important thing which we have for May 2023 examination is your supplementary study paper. Then we have your statutory updates, then revision test papers, mock test papers we have for you. And all these things will be relevant for May 2023 examination. Students, this is very important, coverage of notifications and circulars. What is relevant for you for May 2023 examination? Basically the Finance Act 2022 and any act of previous year is relevant for the forthcoming examination. So the amendments made, because the amendments made by the annual Union Finance Act of a particular year is applicable for May and November examination of next year. So the provisions of CGST Act and the IGST Act as amended by the Finance Act 2022, including significant notifications and circulars issued and other legislative amendments made up to 31st October 2022. This date is very important for you. This is the limit. This is a cutoff date for which the amendments are applicable for you. 31st October 2022. Amendments up to 31st October 2022. I repeat, they are applicable for May 2023 examination. So few of the students might be confused that, ma'am, where we will get these amendments, or how much amendments up to which date are covered in the study material. So this is very important. Please bear in mind that this study material, August 2021 edition, This August 2021 edition is applicable for you and it contains the amendments up to 30th April 2021. Right? So the amendments, you know, that 31st October 22 will be applicable for you. So where will we get these, remaining amendments? You will need to go through the supplementary study paper. And what is a supplementary study paper? Supplementary study paper basically covers the amendments made between 1st May 2021 till 30th April 2022, right? We know that for your exam, amendments up to which date are applicable for you, as we have discussed that for May exam, amendments up to 31st October 2022 are applicable for you, right? Now the study material covers the amendments up to 30th April 21. Next comes with the supplementary study paper. It covers, from where the study materials amendments ends, like 1st May 21 till 30th April 2022, right? Then another thing which you need to go through very carefully is statutory updates. What is statutory updates? They basically contains the amendments, significant amendments made by notification circulars made between 1st May 2022 till 31st October 2022, the cutoff date which is applicable for your examination. Right? And so you have to read, you have to go through these three materials together basically. When you are appearing in May examination, you have to go through the study material, you have to go through the supplementary study paper, and then the statutory updates. Then your study will be as per the latest notifications and circulars will be updated basically. So the another question is how to make a study plan for paper 4B indirect taxes. Let's discuss the study plan. Planning, as we already know that planning is very important. Be it any phase of life, without planning, it always become messy. When you have a proper plan now, then you can spare time for everything. You can spare time for your leisure as well. You can sleep properly. And sleep is also very important. So it's very important that you stick to a study plan, because then only you will be able to complete your study in a prescribed time, in a specified time, and will be able to spend time, will be able to relax before examination. So when we talk about making a study plan for paper 4B indirect taxes, what are the points which you need to bear in mind? First of all, you need to know your syllabus and expected level of knowledge. What knowledge is expected from students at intermediate level? See, syllabus, we already know it is given at the in the study material as well. And expected level of knowledge is basically what we expect is that you understand the provisions of indirect taxes and acquire the ability to apply such knowledge to make computations and address application oriented issues. So basically, analysis and application skills is expected from you. Analysis and application. Analysis and application skills obviously comes after once you understand the things. So first of all, comprehension and knowledge. First of all, you should comprehend the things and understand the provisions. Then comes the analysis and application. The second thing is you should know ascertain the applicability of Finance Act and notifications and circulars. So Finance Act we have already discussed that 2022 is applicable for you. Finance Act of a particular year is made applicable for the forthcoming examination. So for 2022 is applicable for May 23 examination, right? And notification and circulars, we have gone through that 31st October 2022. Then coming to then what is important, next step is draw up a detailed study plan and allocate time for each topic of the subject. See, what is important here is each topic. We at Board of Studies, friends, never recommend the selective studies. Each and every topic of your syllabus is very important. You should know, if you want to score good marks in this paper, never go for the selective study. Like if you have gone through the 3-4 topics which you feel that they are important and you think of ignoring other topics, then I won't recommend you this type of studies, because first of all, your basic fundamentals should be very clear. And for to understand the provisions, to know all the fundamentals, you should go through the each and every topic of the paper. Then one should plan to complete one round of study and 2 rounds of revision before examination. See, this thing is recommended and it differs from each student to student, because it depends upon your capabilities, your learning skills, how much you understand, how much you are able to retain. So it might differ. Like you should feel that, but this is basic. One round of study must be completed and you must revise twice before examination because it helps in retention. While some students might feel that they need to revise 3 times, it's okay. You can revise as much as you can, but this is the, I think, bare minimum recommendations from Board of Studies. Let me see if any student has a query. One student, Mr. Tatvarthi Satya Lakshmi Sai Kumar, has asked, Madam, discuss skill wise and section wise weight of paper 4 and how many marks can get each section. Yes, don't worry. We have just started the section and we surely will go through the section in skill wise weightage. Just stay with us, right? Then next thing is, what should be the approach for effective self-study and attaining conceptual clarity? What is important is conceptual clarity. And when should one start doing practice of question? Should question and answers be taken up at the end after completing all the chapters? Or you should, solve the questions and answers after completing each and every chapter? I think since Mr. Satya Lakshmi has asked the section in skill-wise weightage, so before through the other, your study plan and self-study and conceptual clarity, let us discuss the section in skill-wise weightage. Okay, so we are discussing the section in skill-wise weightage. This paper 4, section B, indirect taxes, is for 40 marks, right? Then section 1. Section 1 basically covers all the substantive provisions and it has the highest weightage. Section 1 has got the highest weightage of 50 to 80%. Highest weightage, you need to bear this in mind. And this section covers all the substantive provisions. So all the basic, all the fundamentals of GSC are covered in this section. You must have, you must attain lot of conceptual clarity in this section, especially before going forward to another section. And what does it contain? It contains levy and collection of CGST and IGST, application of CGST, IGST law, concept of supply, including composite and mixed supplies, charge of tax, including reverse charge, exemptions, composition levy. Then basic concepts of time and value of supply, input tax credit, and computation of GST liabilities. Basically, it is an integrated question which involves all the provisions covered in this section. And what type of skills are can be asked from this section? From section 1, C&K comprehension and knowledge is 20 to 45% is a total, and level 2 analysis and application 55 to 80% will be there in paper 4B, indirect taxes. And from this section, C and K and A and D, both type of questions can be asked in the examination. While computation of GST liability, we have only got A and A. So computation of GST liability, you should note that there is a compulsory question. One question is compulsory in this paper, and that is generally on the computation of GST liability, which is a practical question. And I will discuss in this session with you how to solve the computational questions, right? So this is generally the compulsory question. Then coming to the section 2, 25% to 40% is the weightage, and it contains the procedural law of GST. Once you have completed the substantial provisions, then we come to the procedural aspect of GST. It contains the provisions like registration, tax invoice, credit and debit notes, e-way bill, returns, payment of tax. And yes, what type of skills can be asked from all these sections? It only important is that from computation of GST liability, it is a compulsory question, and you will get only the analysis and application based question. And the third section is the minimum weight is 0 to 5%, and it contains concepts of indirect taxes, concepts, features of IDT, principal indirect taxes, GST law, and introduction including constitutional aspects. This is covered in your chapter 1 of study material. Okay, so I hope that Satya Lakshmi, now you all the session and skill wise weightage is clear to you. Right? So coming to the point, what we were discussing is how to self-study effectively and attain conceptual clarity. You need to go through the read each chapter of the study material thoroughly for conceptual clarity. I hope that you have gone through this study. I have carried it with me, and this is the module 1 and this one is the module 2. We have made a lot of efforts in preparing this study material, and we will be happy if you take the benefit of our efforts. If you go through it, you will understand how each and every provision has been explained in a student friendly language, and then a lot of examples are also there. And we have prepared a very beautiful, very important session for you, very important thing for you, which is let us capitulate section. It contains the summaries of each and every topic which is covered in the study material. So our efforts will be reaped only when you get the benefit of this study material, when you study the study material very properly. So read each chapter of this study thoroughly for conceptual clarity, and then prepare each chapter. Then prepare short summaries. Short summaries are already prepared in this, these are the study materials. Short summaries already prepared in all the chapters of the study material. This you will get as let us recapitulate section. Let me show it to you. After the end of each chapter, you have these type of summaries. All that it is given in the form of tables, flow charts, diagrammatic presentation, so that you can so that you inculcate the interest in studying this paper, indirect taxes. So short summaries are already given at the end of each chapter, with the name let us recapitulate. Right? Then after reading a topic of the study material thoroughly, work out questions from the test your knowledge. This section is already given at the end of the study, at the end of each chapter after the summary. Thereafter, what you need to do is compare your answers with the answers given. Then repeat this process for each topic. Study material you need to read, then work out the questions from test your knowledge, and then you need to compare your answers with the answers given in the study material. So, once you complete this first round of study, you have understood the concept, you have understood the summary of each chapter is already ready with you, and then you have gone through the questions and answers, right? Then comes with the second point is revision, which we have discussed. Revision is very important because until and unless we revise the things now, basically we are not able to retain much. So first of all, we need to understand what all is covered in the study material. We need to understand the provisions, how to apply those legal provisions. Then summary is already ready with you. Then you have to solve the questions and then compare your answers. Then second round comes the revision, and you need to revise twice, at least twice, before commencement of examination. Then the time taken, will be very lesser in each consecutive revisions. Let's say in the first revision it took 10 days, then in the second revision it will take around 4 to 5 days. When you do your first revision, during your first revision, you need to work out the question you have marked once again. When you revise, it differs from each student to student, that some student might feel a particular topic very tricky, difficult, some might feel it easy. So depending upon your understanding, whenever the points where you feel this is a gray area or I am weak at this point, you need to mark it once again. You need to highlight that point so that before examination you pay special attention to that question, that provision, right? Like for example, some students might feel that services which are taxable under reverse charge, that is a bit complicated or it needs special attention, or input tax credit. So depending upon your block credit, so depending upon your understanding of the provisions and your strength and your weaknesses, you need to just, this is important that you highlight those areas so that when you revise it again or day before examination, you are able to uh, pay special attention, you don't skip that point. Then study plan has already been discussed. Comes the revision. What should be the strategy for revising the course? Revision tips. So what are the sources which is available with us for revision, for practice? One is live coaching classes. We have all the recorded sessions, assignments, notes with us. RTPs, revision test papers, all the latest, all the questions which are covered in the RTPs are based on the latest positions of law, and it contains multiple choice questions as well, all the updated questions for your practice. So you must go through the RTPs, then suggested answers if you want to go know the what is the pattern of the what is the pattern of the paper, and what type of questions are generally asked in the examination, and so you can go through the suggested answers. Then we have the mock test papers also. We prepare generally 2 series for of mock test paper. Then students have the doubts, they are confused in the uses of language and manner of giving answers. How can we give the answers? So language to be used should have a legal touch. Let me see if there is any query of student. The language which is to be used, it should have a legal touch. What does it mean by saying legal touch? Legal touch means that no generic answer should be there. Whatever you are writing, there must be some legal substance in it. And though at the same point of time, I will say that, students are not expected to, just reproduce the reproduce the legal language. You can very well write in your own language, but the legal reasoning behind all the provision should be properly contained in your answer. Verbatim reproduction is not expected from you. Though if you are able to retain, you can write, you are welcome, but it is not expected from you. Properly framed language should be there. Any provision which have the essential element of the legal provision. Only that much provision is sufficient which fulfills the requirement of the question and proper conclusion in line with the requirement of the question. One thing which is important is that you need to know very precisely that what is the requirement of the question. Sometimes, let's say the requirement is very small and students ended up in writing the long vague answers. which ultimately leads to that you are not able to complete your complete full paper in time, and you ended up by just skipping few questions and then losing marks. So just see the requirement of the question, answer to the point. Then what are the key topics in this paper and how to revise the whole curriculum day before examination? See, selective study is not, recommended, but yes, the key topics which if you have gone through the study material, if you have, completed one round of your study, then you yourself will be able to answer that the key topics are like key topics like supply. Supply is the fundamental of GST. You need to know what constitutes supply, what does not constitute supply, then composite, mixed supplies, then reverse charge, what are services which are taxable under reverse charge. Then we come to the exemptions. Then this time and value of supply, input tax credit. Input tax credit is very important. Whenever we are computing the net GST liability, then basically what we are computing at the same point of time, two things. One is the what is our GST liability, and another is the input tax credit which is available with us. Then we come to the second point is set off of input tax credit against GST liability. So in this chapter, input tax credit, this set of rules like CGST can be set off against CGST and IGST, but CGST and IGST cannot be set off against each other. You need to pay, proper attention to these fundamental rules, fundamental provisions, and then all the procedural aspects like registration, tax invoice, credit, payment of tax, section 49, and then returns. So all the basically key elements when you have gone through the topic, then you come to know that before, if you're not thorough, if you don't have the, if you're not confident, if towards the fundamental aspects, then you will not be able to understand the procedural law. So you must have the command over these substantive topics like supply, then reverse charge, input tax credit. Okay. How to revise the whole curriculum day before examination. So now we are touching the point examination. As we have already discussed that revision is very important. So when you were studying, you have already marked the few important areas, important points which are gray for you, which need special attention. So at the time of revision, the summary is already given in the study material at the end of each chapter. At the end of each chapter, all the topics we have tried to cover very thoroughly, so that at the day before the examination, you just need to flip all those pages and the provisions comes in your mind. So the day before examination, obviously you just need to revise the points which you have highlighted so far while doing your study, while doing revisions, and then you need to go through the summaries. And another important thing which you need to do before examination is relax, and don't stress out yourself, have proper sleep. And if you have made your study plan, if you have studied thoroughly and have conceptual clarity, then you will be able to solve the questions in any questions can be thrown at you, and you will be confident enough, will be able to solve it properly. Paper pattern, as I've already suggested, that you may refer past year papers which are given as suggested answers. Then illustrative paper pattern has discussed. Basically, we have two divisions in the paper, division A and division B. Division A comprises of entirely multiple choice questions. Right? There are two divisions in this paper. Division A comprises of multiple choice questions and B comprises of descriptive questions. Paper pattern division A multiple choice questions. Since this paper is of 40 marks, right? And multiple choice questions are for 30%. So 12 marks will be the multiple choice questions, and it has two components. One is case scenario based and another one is independent MCQs. And case scenario based in MCQs, you will get a case scenario, and and few multiple choice questions therein, which will which needs the applications of provisions, application of, basically the questions will be application based in case of case scenarios, and few independent multiple choice questions will also be there in the division A. Now, how to attempt the MCQs? The option in MCQs are such that the students need to have good knowledge of the provisions, and they need to apply the same correctly to the case on hand to choose the correct option. So basically your application skills, analysis and application skills टेस्ट हो जाएंगी वहां पर. Then every MCQs has 4 options and all the options are generally near to each other. So a student has to choose the most appropriate answer. In case scenarios, read the scenario carefully. Answer to MCQs arise from the facts or the information which is already given in the provided in the case scenario to you. Important thing is that these MCQs would be compulsory to you. No internal or external choice will be given to you. No negative marking for wrong answers. No reasoning is required from you. Yes. One thing you should feel happy is that it will save your answers, that no reasoning is required. And MCQs will be either knowledge based or application based. They will be either of 1 mark or 2 marks each. Paper pattern, division B. So for division B, we have got descriptive questions that is of 28 marks. One question is compulsory and you have to attempt any 2 questions out of the remaining 3 questions, right? So this compulsory question will be of 8 marks. And any 2 questions out of remaining 3 questions, these will be of 10 marks each. See, I'm just looking again and again to any queries which we have received from students so far. And one query which I am able to see is like this Mr. Joshi is writing again and again. And Mr. Joshi, I think, has written, "Good afternoon, ma'am. I have June 21 edition of income tax, but applicable is of May 22. So I have to cover amendments of November 22 as well as of May 23. Then it is done now. See, Mr. Joshi, this session is for indirect taxes. You better place this query for the direct taxes faculty because it pertains to income tax. But still, you have 21 edition of income tax, but that is applicable for May 22. And so obviously, if your edition is applicable for May 22, then you need to cover the amendments of November 22 and for May 23 if you are appearing in May 23 examination, right? Then how to improve performance in the examination and how to score good marks. Finally, the question of your choice that how to score good marks, ma'am. See, let's discuss the manner in which you should present your answer. Answering descriptive questions, scenario-based or practical-based questions. Basically, you need to recall in mind that what is the legal provision that is involved in the question, situation given in the question. Then you need to correlate and apply the law in the provided issue. Then give conclusion with the correct answer. The length of the answer should be in commensuration with the marks allotted. This is very important because the answer which you write, neither it should be too short that it does not fulfill the requirement of the question, nor it should be unnecessarily lengthy so as you ended up in losing your time, precious time at the examination center, right? So length of the answer should be in commensuration with the marks allocated. and answer in properly framed language. The legal substance which is behind the provision should be stated in your answer. Avoid giving generalized answer without capturing the extent provisions. If any question is, direct, then highlight the main points with brief description, bullet points, examples you can give, and diagrammatic presentation you should not give. You should give your answer properly in paragraphs. Then few common questions are there, common issues are there, which we received, which we have, uh, which we received from students over mail, over telephone, over e-Sahayata portal. That's how to write answer to score maximum marks in indirect access. First of all, I will say scoring good marks in indirect access is not at all difficult. It's very easy if you want to score good marks in indirect access. If you have gone through the study material, if you have the conceptual clarity, if you know all the provisions, then trust me, no one can stop you from scoring good marks in indirect access. It's so easy, so easy. Basically fundamental clarity should be there. Then you need to the how to apply the legal provisions in any application based scenario. You should know how to present your answers properly in a limited time frame, and then you will score good marks. So read the question carefully, derive your answer as per the requirement of the question. Requirement of the question, you need to go through very specifically what does the question demands, what is the requirement of the question. Your answer should be in commensuration with the marks allotted and complete answers. See, in this point of time, I will also, generally we receive a query that, ma'am, should we, what happens if we don't cite the important section? But does it, lead to losing marks if you are not able to cite in the section number? See, at this point of time, I will say that obviously, some key sections, obviously, you should know, like section 7, supply, block credit, over section 49, payment of tax. But I will suggest to you that, either you quote the right section number, or it's better you don't quote the section number. It's better not to misquote than, quoting a right section number. Because, if you quote a wrong section number, obviously it will lead to cutting off your marks. So it's better if you quote the section number only if you are very sure that yes, this section pertains to this provision. Otherwise, it's better not to quote than to misquote the section number, right? Not to quote than to misquote the section number. Then coming to the next point, what is marking pattern of indirect taxes? See, in every be it any question, stepwise marking pattern is generally followed. And stepwise marks are allocated for stating relevant legal provisions and legal issue and the application of law. And third thing is concluding. First of all, you need to know what is the legal provision, right? Then you should know the application of law, how you are applying the law in the given stated situation. Third thing is conclusion. Then what is your conclusion? Like question could be like say whether the given activities are taxable or not, whether we need to pay GSA in the following scenario or not. So you should know whether the activity is taxable or not. If it is taxable, is there any exemption provided in the in the exemption notification? Right? Then you need to conclude ultimately GST is payable or not payable. GST, let's say if in any situation GST is not payable in a particular activity, but there can be two reasons behind it. It might happen that service is not taxable at all, or service is taxable but due to some exemption notification, it is exempted under service. It is exempted under GST. Another thing is how to manage time in exams. Time management very important. Say your studies, you have your conceptual clarity is very good, you have completely revised your syllabus in due time frame, but if you are not able to present your answers, all the answers in the examination, then you won't be able to get marks. So time management is very important. Make optimum use of 15 minutes which are given to you for reading. I will say that you should go through all the questions quickly. Give a fast glance to all the questions. Then select the questions that you will be attempting from all the questions. Right? You have an internal choice in the section B also. So you decide the question which you will be attempting and which question you will be attempting and which you will be leaving as a choice. Mark the questions which you will be attempting first. Right? It is always said that first impression is the last impression, and this is true. And obviously, it helps in boosting your confidence as well. So if you are, attempting the question which you know best in the as a first in the first place, it has two advantages. First, it will save your time. Second, it will boost your confidence. You will see that yes, I have one question is completed, and a lot of time is still available. So your confidence will be boosted, and when obviously the anybody who will be checking the paper will also be happy that this student is this student knows the provision. First impression is the last impression. So you should mark the question, and I will say that first of all you should attempt the question which you know in the best manner, right? Then allocate an estimated time for each question based on their difficulty level and marks, keeping aside 10 to 15 minutes for revision. Adhere to time allocated. What does it mean basically? It says, let's say we have to do 4 questions, right? So you should allocate time for each question. And if you are doing question and you feel, you are stuck up somewhere, you keep on thinking what all provisions are applicable, whether there is exemption available for this or not, I'm not able to recall. So I will say set specify time for each question, like say 10 minutes. Then if you are running out of time, if you are already given 10 minutes of your time to that particular question, then switch to the next question. So I will advise to start every question from the next page, so that if you, at the end you have got spare time after revising, and sometimes it happens and something doesn't click to us at one point of time, then you can always come back to that page and write your answers, complete answers. Then again, each answer should be in commensuration with the marks which the question carries. Answer should be precise and to the point. Vague and lengthy answer does not fetch you more marks, right? Lengthy answers will not fetch you more marks. Correct answer will fetch you marks. You understand the difference? That correct answer will fetch you more marks. Lengthy answers will not fetch you more marks. Then points to be borne in mind while attempting computational problem. This is very important. Computational questions. It carries a lot of weightage, especially in our paper in indirect taxes, because one compulsory question, computation of GST liability, is a computational based question. So the important point I will tell you is that these are the points which we generally come to know when we go through the mistakes which we students committed in examination. One thing is that specify reasons. Specify reasons for treatment of each item, right? If there is any question on taxability and you are including out of 4 items in the column of taxable, and for 2 items you are just giving nil, in the amount column you are just adding nil, then you must write the specific reason for either inclusion or non-inclusion of item in the when you compute any GST liability, when you compute any input tax credit available. Reason should also be for inclusion. reason should be for both, whether you are included a particular item or you are not included. It's not that if you're not giving the any treatment for one item and it is given in the question. Let's say if a credit is blocked, right? If example, if there is a blocked credit, right? Then obviously if you are computing the, input tax credit available, input tax credit available with Mr. S, then you will be writing nil because the credit is blocked. But you must give reasons for it, right? If any item is blocked credit under section 17, then also you are not included in the tabular presentation of computation of ITC available, then also you should give the reason of the item that why you have not included, right? And another thing I will say that basically this is the most general error that students do not give reasoning, and reasoning should be correct. It should be based on the legal provisions. No generic reasoning should be there. And few important things I will say that it is important to come when you in the examination hall is I will advise that 6 complete answers to the 6 questions fetch more marks to you if you are rather than if you are able to do the 5 questions. So give particular time, give the specified time as demanded by a question, and then move to the next question if you are running out of time. And 6 average question answers fetch you more marks than the 5 best you can say. So try to attempt the full paper. You have to do the full paper, answer full paper. Do not leave any question. Right, you have to complete your full paper. And then let's discuss with you one another important thing, which is study guidelines. Friends, I'm again I'm again telling you because I want to emphasize that for May 23 examination, study material is to be read along with supplementary study paper, and the statutory updates are also to be read along with these two things, study material and supplementary study paper. Let's come to the study guidelines. What are these study guidelines? Study guidelines basically, contains specify the exclusions from the syllabus. Exclusions from the syllabus, the topics which are excluded from the syllabus for your examination for May 2023 examination. Applicability, Finance Act 2022. Significant notifications and circulars and other amendments made up to 31st October 2022. They are applicable for your examination. Then study guidelines basically specify the exclusions from the syllabus for your examination. And these are the topic-wise exclusions. Charge of text including reverse charge. This is a serial number 2, second C in the syllabus. See friends, syllabus is already given in your study material in the initial pages of your study. When you open your this study material, module 1, Then in the initial pages itself, syllabus is given to you. So what does this study guidelines cover? Basically, it contains the exclusions which are from the syllabus, which is given at page number 10, Roman 10 of your study material in the initial phases of module 1. If you have the study material with you, you can, correlate with it. Heading number 2, second C is charge of tax, including reverse charge. And what is excluded from this syllabus is rate of tax prescribed for supply of goods, rate of tax prescribed for supply of services. So you need not memorize the rate of tax, be it for good or rate for services. Then categories of supply of goods, tax on which is payable on reverse charge basis under section 9(3). See, services which are taxable under reverse charge are already covered in your syllabus, and they are given in this chapter number 3. Reverse charge services are covered, goods are not covered. Similarly, for IGST Act 2017, rate of tax prescribed for supply of goods, services is not expected from you. Categories of supply of goods, tax on which is payable on reverse charge basis under section 5(3). Determination of nature of supply, interstate supply, intrastate supply, supply in terrestrial waters. So at intermediate level, you need not, you are not expected to determine the nature of supply. Whether the given supply is an interstate or an intrastate, that will be stated in the question. Then this OIDAR is obviously not covered at intermediate. Exemptions for services are covered in the syllabus in chapter number 4, exemptions from GST. Exemptions for supply of goods is outside the syllabus. Coming to the another point, basic concepts of time and value of supply. Provisions relating to change in rate of tax in respect of supply of goods or services is not expected. Determination of value of supply, rules are not covered at intermediate level. Rules for determination of value of supply will be covered when you will move in the final level. Then input tax credit. CGST Act read with CGST rules. Manner of determination of input tax credit in respect of inputs or input services and reversal thereof. Manner of determination of ITC in respect of capital goods and reversal thereof. So reversal rules are not covered at interlevel. Similarly, in ITC provisions in respect of inputs and capital goods and for job work is not covered, and ISD input service distributor, these will be covered at final level. Manner of recovery of credit distributed in excess. It excluded from the syllabus at intermediate level. Then payment of tax में TDS and TCS. These are covered at final level. Though one important point here is that rates which are specified for computing the tax payable under composition levy, they are included in the syllabus. Although rates for goods and services are not expected from you, but rates for composition levy, this is included in the syllabus. So again, we are touching that syllabus. This includes selected provisions of CGSC and IGSC. At intermediate level, it does not cover the entire CGSC Act 2017 and the IGSC Act 2017. Provisions covered in any topic of the syllabus which are related to or correspond to the topic not covered in the syllabus, that shall also be excluded. Another important thing here is that After completing the study guidelines, I will go through the queries which we received from students. Again, August 2021 edition of study material, read with. This is very important. You have to read the study material, read with, add supplementary study paper for May 23 examination. These are applicable for you. And amendments which are made in the GST law after issuance of study material to the extent covered in supplementary study paper for May 23 examination and statutory updates. They shall be relevant for you. Study material, supplementary study paper, and statutory updates. Entire content which is included in August 21 edition of study material, except the exclusions which I have discussed just now with you. Supplementary study paper for May 23 and statutory update for May 23, they shall be relevant for the said examination. Right? So I hope that by now you must, you must be feeling though a bit, lighter one, that now you all the strategies have been discussed with you, important key points which you need to bear in mind, how to solve the computation questions and how to answer properly have been discussed. Scale wise, section wise weightage of the paper and the study guidelines we have discussed so far. Let me quickly go through the queries. Mr. Rahul Agarwal has said, ma'am, can you share any tips on length and handwriting of our answers expected generally on the basis of marks to be allocated from us? See, Rahul, length, as I have already discussed multiple times in this session, that your answer should be in commensuration with the marks allocated to the question. See, if any question is of 5 marks, you need to pay two things, importance to two things in the examination scenario. One, what is the requirement of the question? Another, marks allocated. Right? So when you answer your question, you need to just fulfill two requirements. Your answer should be your answer should fulfill the requirement of the question, should be to the point. And if any question is, let's say, of 5 marks, and if you're writing unnecessarily lengthy, vague answers, then it won't help you in fetching more marks. So it is always said that you give the time to the question in commensuration with the marks allocated. And handwriting, basically you should be your legible, you should be clean, neat and clean, so that the paper examiner is able to read your answers properly, right? Then Satya Lakshmi has said, madam, you said section 1 weightage is 50 to 80%. 50% on 40 marks or total marks included choice in the syllabus. See, see, the weightage of section 1 is 50% to 80%, and this is for this I'm discussing for section B, indirect taxes. So for 40 marks, total 40 marks, the paper you will be getting, the weightage will be 50 to 80%, right? So your basically the questions, whether it is multiple choice questions or the questions of descriptive nature, from section 1 they will the coverage will be for 50 to 80%. It includes the both division A as well as for division B. Then Miss Preeti has said, ma'am, I have made 22 edition book. Should I read the supplementary study paper? The answer is May 22 edition book, right? Should I read the supplementary study paper? See, Preeti, I think you're confused with the direct taxes, but because for indirect taxes, August 21 edition is applicable for you. And then or you might have some the reprint of May 22, but yes, you have to read the for indirect taxes, you have to have read the supplementary study paper for May 23 examination. Is there any other query? I will be very happy to answer your queries in this live session. So by now we have discussed, answered all the queries, and all your points, all your doubts must be clear. I hope those must be clear to you. Any other point which you feel that you need to give me clarification, you can ask. I just can say a few things which will touch upon the few things like for example this exemptions from GST. I'm giving you a small example because generally we get a computational question which involves a few entries pertaining to exemption notification as well. So whenever you are writing your answer, whether you are including it in your main answer or you are not including it, you have to have give the reason why you are even ignoring that particular entry, why you are not giving you any treatment for it. Though you are not expected to remember the exemption, entry number of the exemption notification, but you should know the treatment of the entry. But there is a difference between, if you go to the basic provisions, I will say the like main exemption entries: education, agriculture, healthcare, then charitable activities. This is a simple example how you should like study. Like for exempt supply, these are defined as a supplies which attracts nil rate of tax or which may be wholly exempt from tax. But non-taxable supply means a supply on which tax is not leviable. So under GST, a supply not leviable to tax is also included within the purview of exempt supply. So in case if any activity does, supply is not leviable to it, right? If it is non-taxable, then also we will say it to be an exempt supply. But I am discussing with you is, the most common errors, most common, points of, these are the points where generally students search. We receive the queries from students, ma'am, what is the difference between the non-taxable supply and the exempt supply? Why we treat the non-taxable supply as exempt supply? You can read at the study material. I'm giving you the reference of study material side by side. So that you can after we complete this session, you can you can just go back to the study material and have the clarity. Section number page number 4.2, chapter 4, exemption from GST. Mr. Mahesh has asked, ma'am, how to write answer if question is theory, like point wise or para. See, generally we receive questions at intermediate level, the application base. It is your choice whether you want to write in point wise or para, but yes, point wise is generally recommended because it gives a precise answers, and you can basically to the it when you write to the point wise your answer is generally to the point. In para, we also ended up in understanding what you want to try to write the answer, whether the main legal substances has been covered or not. So point was answer is more recommended. Then coming to that, I will say like the service is flexible under reverse shower. You should have not go through very carefully. These are very important. Then input tax credit, substantive provisions. This is the main provisions of input tax credit. Without input tax credit, we are not able to solve the compulsory question, which is there on computation of GST liability. And in case of computation of GST liability, this set off of input tax credit and the block credit which is covered in section 17. Numerous examples have been given in the study material, and just go through them very carefully. And let me again touch up the point. set off of input tax credit, because whenever there's a question on computation of GST liability, it generally involves a set off of ITC against the GST liability, right? So IGST credit should first be utilized towards payments of IGST. First of all, IGST should be utilized towards payment of IGST. And if we have remaining credit, like the remaining here, it can be utilized towards payment of CGST as well as for SGST in any order, any proportion. Any order plus any proportion, right? What does it mean? That first of all, you can utilize the remaining IGST against CGST and then towards payment of SGST, or it is your choice if you want to utilize the remaining IGST towards SGST and then to CGST, right? Any order, and you can utilize the remaining IGST towards CGST and SGST in any proportion, whether it is 50-50, whether it is 80-20. The way you can, the way your minimum net GST payable is nil, or you can less than your minimum net GST payable, you can utilize your IGST in any manner. Entire of IGST should be fully utilized before ITC of CGST or SGST. First of all, this IGST should be fully utilized. Right? Then CGST. CGST should be utilized for payment of CGST and then towards IGST in that order. It cannot be utilized for payment of SGST. Similarly, IGST credit can also not be used for CGST. And we come to credit of SGST only when CGST has been utilized fully. So this I have discussed this, utilization of ITC because it is very, important. Generally, we get this, this set off of ITC in case of the compulsory question, computation of GST liability. So I hope students. Right. So I hope that by now we have so by I have answered all the queries which I have received so far, and all the key points, important things we need to you need to bear in mind by preparing for this paper, by doing revision for this paper, and during examination also the important points, we queries, mistakes the students commit during examination, and scoring good marks, and like set of ITC study guidelines, relevant the cutoff date applicable for you, and the relevant publications. See, one another thing is that all the updated and multiple choice questions have also been, have also been given to you for the practice purpose. You should refer the revision test paper, mock test papers, and web-hosted multiple choice questions. All the multiple choice questions are updated one, and you can practice from them. So I hope that by now all the queries have been resolved. So thank you, friends. Thank you. All the best for your students.